Hello and welcome in. I am Greg Smith, recruiting extraordinaire for Hail Varsity, and I am joined once again for the Thursday, I almost said Friday. It is not Friday as much as I want it to be. The Thursday football video of the week, once again by Steve Marik, staff writer of Hail Varsity. Steve, how are you this morning, man?
I'm doing great. Doing great. I'm excited. We got a good little topic here, so I'm excited to dive in it with you.
Yeah, we were talking about it kind of off camera before this. It's kind of hard to narrow down once you start to
Mhm.
think about it. The question actually is, or the topic is something that kind of came up on radio this week when I was on a show in Omaha. Which true freshman or two do you feel like have the best chance of not redshirting this year? And I think the reason the question is so interesting, like we were talking about beforehand, is that we've all spent, and everyone is guilty of this. It's not like a knock on anyone. Everyone's guilty of it. We've all spent so much time thinking about transfers and all of the, the 15, 18 newcomers that have come to the roster, including junior college guys, and how many of those guys are going to contribute. 7 or 8 of them may end up starting. That I think the whole like which true freshmen are going to play a lot right away part of it has gone to the wayside where it normally doesn't. This is normally the time of year where people are really starting to hone in on that. As guys are now on campus, I've seen a lot of photos floating around the interwebs. They did a photo shoot with the team. So I guess I'll go first here on my pick. And it's actually, I'm going to change the pick from the one that gave on the radio this week. And I'm going to go with New Jersey defensive back Jaden Gold, who is someone that I somehow feel like went from a really huge recruiting win for Travis Fisher in Nebraska to kind of off the radar as a prospect or a player right now. 6'2", 180 pounds, so he's got the size to be able to kind of step in and play right away. He was here in the spring. I always like that for guys that I pick, even though there might be a couple that didn't come and fit into that category. But I think that he could end up maybe either working his way in kind of the back end of the rotation at defensive back, but I also think he's a guy that could really help out on special teams too, as we know that the team is going to try to revamp the special teams this year. I think Jaden Gold is a sneaky pick, maybe that's now suddenly off the radar as a guy who may not redshirt this year.
Yeah, I did not think that you were going to go Jaden Gold.
See, I told you he's like off the radar now. It's weird.
Yeah, and he was the top-rated true freshman in that class. Everybody just kind of, I guess, glosses over that fact. And but yeah, he's in a position of a wide open kind of. He plays corner, and with Quentin Newsome. We all think he's got his job settled, but what about the other one? It's up for grabs right now with guys like Tommy Hill, Braxton Clark, and Hill. I mean, yeah, Jaden Gold could absolutely step in there and show the coaches what he could do. So yeah, that was a sneaky good pick. I won't lie, Greg. So with my pick, I've been kind of going back and forth with this one. I'm going to go Ernest Hausmann.
Okay.
Just because of that special teams factor. I think that a guy like Ernest Hausmann, Ernie, like the coaches call him, which I absolutely love. I'm going to start calling him Ernie now. But yeah, I think that Ernest Hausmann, he brings a lot to the table. You have told me multiple times that the coaches really like him and like what he brings. He's a super young, athletic guy, and I just think he screams special teams. Just to throw him out there, and he's going to give you everything he's got with special teams as he continues to learn and develop under inside linebackers like Nick Henrik and Luke Reimer. I don't know if playing time is in his future, right away at inside linebacker, but I think it sure as heck can be on special teams. And I think he could be an everyday special teams guy.
I like that pick. And in part, I really like the way that things could kind of set up for Ernest Hausmann, like kind of moving forward as you've got. For those who don't know, I did a cover story on him for Hail Varsity magazine. And so I've really gotten to know him and his family. And I know that he coming into his time at Nebraska when he early enrolled, that he was really looking forward to learning under Luke Reimer and Nick Henrich. Like that was something that he definitely specifically called out, that he knew that he had two really good kind of role models in that room to A, pattern his game after, but B, learn the ropes from at the college level. And from all accounts, it sounds like he came in and hit the ground running, both on the field, off the field, in the classroom, in the weight room, like everything. He's put on really good weight and muscle mass just in a short time here. I think that it's the perfect setup for him to come in and learn help on special teams, and then develop, for a year, maybe even two, depending on what happens with Reimer and Henrich kind of moving forward, because you don't forget that those guys are actually older than you realize based on their class standing, and then can maybe continue to learn, and then in a year or two, be a guy that's a potential starter. Like, I think that that's the way too that Nebraska would love to start setting up multiple rooms, right, along the team, is that you bring in freshmen that have great work ethic, can develop, learn behind some key veterans, and then they come in and take the spot, and they've learned kind of the ropes and like the culture and what it takes and all of that from established veteran guys. I really like that pick. I think that Ernest Hausmann out of Columbus is going to be a really good player for Nebraska. The other pick that I considered, though, and because we'll give a bonus here, the other one that I considered was Janarin Bonner. It's really tough, though, because I've now called out two guys. Well, no, we technically called out three that are in crowded rooms. Like, it is a fact, right? Wide receiver is crowded, but almost like we mentioned with defensive back, it's kind of wide open, right? Like, you think at wide receiver that Trey Palmer is going to be the lead dog, right? We feel like we've been saying now since Omar Manning has been on campus that he's going to step into a bigger role and show everyone why it was that he was the number one wide receiver coming out of JUCO and why the coaches wanted him so badly, right? Yep. But we just don't know. I think outside of Trey Palmer, and even in a way with Trey Palmer, because we haven't seen him do it in a Nebraska uniform, it's just a lot of question marks in that wide receiver group, which I think is going to be good, whichever way they kind of configure it and figure it out. And a lot of that is on the strength of who the coach is, Mickey Joseph, because we just have such a high regard for him. I think Bonner is a kid, just looking at him, that can come right in and contribute right away.
Yeah, looking at him, he looks like he's a junior in college already. You showed me that picture of Janarin Bonner, and he is exploding out of his t-shirt with muscles. That guy is built. He's got to be around 200 pounds, 195, something like that at 6'1". He just looks physically intimidating. And I think, he's obviously been putting in the work in the off season, in the weight room. Mickey Joseph has to love what Janarin Bonner is doing. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what he can do, when the pads are on and the game and the snaps are live here. So that's an excellent pick as well. So for my bonus pick, I've had fun with this one. As you were kind of talking, I was kind of going back in my head. Let's go with AJ Allen, the running back from Louisiana, right? So he was not here for the spring, correct?
Correct. He was not.
Yeah. So he was not here for the spring. So he's got some catching up to do. But looking at his huddle film, just reading as much as I could about this kid, it seems that Brian Applewhite really, really liked him. Of course, he was a TCU commit when Brian was coaching there with the Horned Frogs, and then was able to flip him to Nebraska on signing day. But man, AJ Allen's got some moves. He's got some quicks. I really, really, really think that, if given an opportunity, he could be a guy that, isn't the lead back, but could come in maybe on third downs, maybe could help out in the return game. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it just seems like he's an athlete to the caliber that you just want to put him out in the game and give him some carries, maybe 2 to 3 carries a game, maybe something like that. Maybe throw him some passes out of the backfield, just get the ball in space with him. I really think that that's a guy that they could really use.
I am fascinated to see how that battle for running back ends up shaping up this fall camp. Like, I think I don't want to
that's a position that we talked about with DBs, with corner and then receiver. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of new faces in these, and running back is obviously just another one where there's a lot of faces. There's maybe not one lead back that has emerged yet. So AJ Allen's just kind of entering, and that's an opportunity for him, I think.
Yeah, and it's easier, I guess, for running backs to come in the summer and hit the ground running. We've seen that before, and you see it around college football more and more these days with true freshman running backs. It's just a position that lends itself to doing that, especially if you're getting really good blocking up front, right? It really helps. But running back, to me, might be my number one pick. If we were doing a draft, and we might have to do this for a different football video of just like which position group battles are you most excited to watch. Running back might be top for me, because you're going to have to cut down the reps so quickly to figure out and get a rotation going, because that first game will sneak up on them before they know it. They just have to figure it out. And I'm curious to see if whoever starts the season, are they going to be the starter by the end of the year? Like, there's just a lot there with running backs So yeah, we definitely will have to dive further into that at a later time as well. But I love the AJ Allen pick. Talk about guys that are kind of on that all get off the bus team, as even as a true freshman running back, he's going to fit into that group as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And to what you're talking about with the running back rotation, you're absolutely right. I don't think what it's going to look like when they trot out there against Northwestern to their last game against Iowa. I think there's just going to obviously be a lot of like transitioning going on there and finding the right guys to emerge. And so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the three main guys right now, Ramir Johnson, Anthony Grant, and then Jaquez Yant. I think those are the three guys who are probably going to get the bulk of the carries for at least the early parts of the season. I wouldn't be surprised to see that until one of them kind of separates themselves.
Yeah, I think the read. Yeah, it is. And I think it's going to be one of those guys, and I have no idea who at this point is going to, I think, take that ball and run with it, right? I just have a feeling that one of them is going to separate themselves and become the real lead back that Nebraska has been searching for a few years now, or a couple of years. It's just like, good luck trying to pick which guy it's going to be, because we haven't even mentioned Gabe Irvin, and he's healthy right now. And so, and he was the starter.
Forgetting about Gabe, and I really like Gabe.
Like, he's just a guy that it's easy to forget about him at this point because of how many names are in there. So yeah, that's going to be a fascinating battle. But that's going to do it for us this week for the football video. Make sure you guys are liking this video. Let's get those likes up, and also subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to hailvarsity.com. We got plenty of recruiting coverage, football coverage for the off season, baseball, you name it. Everything is going on right now. We're covering it all at hailvarsity.com. We will catch you guys later.